Boom. At the end of the day, what's the benefit are you going to get from being average and you come from a first world country? Guys like to go to third world countries and say, hey, I'm from America. I'm from America. You're bragging about being from America and you don't have American resources. You don't have first world resources. You're not in the, you're not on the golf course. You're not in the country club. You can't afford it because you're average. Listen, my woman from the DR, if we come back to America, listen, I'm dropping a milli. I repeat, I'm dropping a milli. When we come back to America, I'm dropping a milli. We going to the country club so I can get away from you guys. Listen, tuck my shirt in. We going to the country club. We going to the country club. I'm not talking to the average. We're going to the country club. I'm taking my Dominican woman to the country club. You guys are taking a Dominican woman to Miami when dudes are pulling up in Lambos. Are you crazy? The dude in the Lambo, he can take care of her family back home. Oh, he can get us all over here. You guys are from America. Do you not realize when you go to these other countries, they're looking at you like, bruh, you're a gringo and you don't have a Lambo? What the hell? You're a gringo and you don't have a Ferrari? What the hell? Why would you go to a third world country before you be the man in a first world country that you're actually from? This is not Jamaica. This is not Haiti. This is America. Get the resources up and stop crying. You got dudes out here talking about they getting the same woman El Alpha is getting. Stop the cap. You just got a woman who had a bubble and was curvaceous. That's not the same woman El Alpha is getting. El Alpha is not getting set up in the DR, in his Bugatti. He can pull up to the trenches in his Bugatti. You can't do that with your Mopar. They know you're from a first world country and you're pulling up in a moped in a third world country. Like, are you poor? Like, are you poor? The passport bros, they're poor. I'm here to tell you, passport bros are poor. It would be a difference if guys from America left America, went to third world countries, and changed their families' lives. They're going to third world countries to change change a stroke. They're changing their stroke game up in third world countries. They're paying for cat. They're not taking, like, they're so lustful. Listen, when I go to the DR, I'm not getting no cat. When I go to the DR, listen, if it's a woman there, listen, I'm going to just give her some money and I'm going to say, listen, I don't want to, I'm not trying to use you. I'm not trying to use you. They're trying to go to the DR because they can't afford to get laid in a first world country. They know the woman in a first world country is not dumb like a robot. They think women in the DR are robots. For some reason, the passport bros think women in the DR are robotic. They're going to go to the DR. They're going to get a rude awakening. They're going to get scopamine. They don't have resources, so it's like when a Dominican woman sees you pull up and she knows you're from America, like she knows you're a gringo, and you mean to tell me in the age of social media, she's looking on Instagram, seeing all these guys from the United States and Miami, they're in California, they're pulling up in Lambo SVJs, pulling up in Lambo Stows, they pulling up in Lambo STOs, and you guys are pulling up on mopeds? Like what the hell? Like, it'll be different. You could pull up in a moped, but do you got the real estate? Do you got the $3.5 million mansion? Are you in a gated community? You dudes gotta go. You can't afford, listen, you guys can't afford to not be in an Airbnb. You guys gotta Airbnb it up for 2 weeks. Then you gotta go back to the US because you ran out of PTO. So you are still a worker. And you're trying to pay for coochie like you're the guy with the resources. They know you're capping. Listen, at the end of the day, you got to understand, women in third world countries, they have family. They're family oriented. Guys from first world countries like America, they're not family oriented. They're sex oriented. They're going to third world countries just to pay for it. Just to pay for it until her cousin sets you up. Until her cousin machete your arm off. Because you were coming to the DR just to pay for it. You're not going to the DR to change these women's lives. You're not going to pay for her grandmother. You don't care about her family. And she knows this. She knows this. You guys have a robotic mindset. At the end of the day, you want to do what everybody else does. You're listening to a passport, bro. He doesn't have resources. And the passport, bro, he's from the UK. He's not even from the USA. I repeat, he's from the UK and not the USA. Listen, at the end of the day, the UK is the big brother of the USA. And he's not even up. So you're listening to average advice from an average guy, and you're going to end up having average results. Who the hell wants to have average results? No, I teach people how to get exactly what they want. Guys want beauty pageant models. Listen, I don't want to be a player no more. Guys want beauty pageant models. Dudes are trying to pull up to Miami in a Honda. Are you an Uber driver? Like, that's what I like if I go to Miami and I see Hondas, I'm thinking through my head, oh, these guys are the Uber drivers. Like, these guys are, I know they told you the guys in the Hondas, they're the secret, low-key millionaires. I don't believe that. Those guys are the Uber drivers. They get Uber driver treatment. You got a Honda? Are you a female? You're getting Uber driver treatment. I'm sorry, you're getting Uber driver treatment. Don't go to Miami with a Honda. They're gonna get in a back seat. They're gonna be like, "Are you the Uber?" "Yeah, I gotta go here. I gotta go around the corner." You got the around the corner mindset. You're gonna buy a house. You're gonna rent a house around the corner. You're like, you guys are not internationally businessmen. I'm an international businessman. I have an international mindset. So with that being said, I repeat, with that being said, listen, at the end of the day, I'm not pulling up to the DR as a gringo in a freaking Honda. I'm not doing that. I'm pulling up to the DR in a Lambo. I'm pulling up to the DR in a Bugatti, just like El Efe. Me and him, we both got Bugattis. Listen, I'm a gringo, but I'm pulling up as a gringo. This is the age of social media. You don't think women in DR have Instagram? You don't think multi-billionaires are flying them out all the way to South Sudan? Bars. I'm not a rapper. You don't think women in the DR have Instagram? You don't think multi-billionaires are flying them out to South Sudan? Bars. I'm not a rapper. At the end of the day, all these guys want to be average. This is why I tell men, do not have friends. Your friends are your problems. The reason you're not going to be a future Lambo driver is because of your friends. You can blame all your friends are the reason you're not going to have a Lambo. Your friends are the reason you're not going to afford a $30 million mansion. You listen to your friends are the average. You're hanging around people who are not multimillionaires. And those are the results you're going to produce. Unmillionaire results. You're going to have non-millionaire mindset. Listen, you need to be 10 toes down. At the end of the day, since I'm 10 toes down, I'm pulling up to the DR with armed security. Yeah, I'm going to have armed security. Yeah, that's how we rolling. If anybody rolling with me, they professional armed security, high level. If I don't got armed security, it's just me and God. At the end of the day, listen, I'm not rolling with these average dudes. They trying to pull up in a Honda to Miami? What the hell? You gonna pull up to Miami in a Honda? Bruh, those girls are not dumb. They're all on social media. Fresh and Fit podcast, you gonna be around those women in a Honda, bruh, and they say they need a guy who makes at least $500K? a guy who makes at least 1 milli, the guy in a Honda, bro, the millionaires are not buying Hondas, bro. Trust me, they're not buying Hondas. At the end of the day, what you gonna pull up in a Honda for? Listen, look at the lime green, bro. I said, look at the lime green, bro. At the end of the day, that's what you call a scat pack. You should have got the Hellcat. I repeat, that's what you call a scat pack. I don't want that. You see, it had 392 on the side. This is a first world country. Maybe a Dominican in a third world country, if he got a scat pack, that's different. He in a third world country. He got the scatty. Oh, snap. He's a future self-made multi-millionaire in the making. You in a first world country pulling up in a 392, bro? You only got 600 horses, bro? That's it? Bro. That only the average complain about the government in America. Listen, the government in America, he will give you money. The government in America, he wants you to be successful. That's why he gonna throw the book at you when you do crimes, because you're not focused. At the end of the day, you got to understand, we not going to Miami looking average. We not going to third world country. I'm not leaving this country without pulling up in a Lambo SVJ everywhere I go. It's just not gonna happen. I'm gonna stay in America, get the Corvette C8, get the Dodge Hellcat, or get the Dodge Demon. That's the three choices I'm going with. Or the Cybertruck. And we gonna sell the merchandise and go all the way up. Hit the multi-millions. Once we make 100K, we're gonna take 50K and get the Lambo Urus. And then in the Lambo Urus, we're gonna sell the merchandise. And you're getting straight to the millions. I repeat, once you get the Lambo Urus, you're getting straight to the millions. The average would say, well, why can't you buy the Lambo Urus? Listen, go buy the Honda 2025 then. We're not talking to the average people. They're talking about, oh, the Lambo's rented. We're in the Lambo, though. The Lambo's rented. We're in the Lambo. You're in the 2025 Honda, and that's rented. How do you rent a Honda? Why couldn't you buy a $20,000 car? It's only worth $20K. And you are paying monthly on a car that's only worth $20K? Do you not have it? Exactly. You listening to average advice. They told you to get the average Honda. Listen, he says, why do I gotta get a supercar? The supercar represents you have discipline. You're not average. You have the ability to focus long term. It means you're the big boss. When you pull up in a Rolls Royce, it means you're the big boss. The Rolls Royce is not to flex. No, it just means you have the discipline and you're the big boss. You're the El Matatan. These guys pulling up in a Hondas, it shows they're not the El Matatan. They're not the big boss. They're the guy who works for the big boss. No, that's not a CEO mindset. That's an average mindset. The average guy doesn't want to be the CEO. The average guy looks up to the celebrity. The CEO talks to other CEOs, the guys who own the celebrities. Like the guys who own the celebrities, the guys who cut the checks for the celebrities, oh, those are the bosses. Those are the El Matatans. They're not pulling up in Hondas. If they are pulling up in Hondas, they have a $30 million mansion to back it up. Back me up. Back me up. Back me up. At the end of the day, listen, they want you to be average. When you focus on what you don't want, that's what you get. They keep talking about law of attraction. Law of attraction will stop focusing on Hondas, and maybe you can get a Lambo. They're not focused on Lambos. Listen, law of attraction. If you focus on the Lambos long enough, you'll figure out ways to get the Lambo. If you focus on Hondas long enough, you'll be a 2025 Honda Uber driver. You're going to get treated like an Uber driver. I don't want to get treated like an Uber driver in a first world country. So I'm pulling up Lambo Urus. I'm pulling up Dodge Hellcat that goes straight. Dodge Demon, go straight. What sound does the Honda 2025 make? It probably don't even make a sound. The 2025 Honda, it doesn't even make a sound. Like, what the hell? You press on the gas, you floor it. It doesn't, you don't even, like, what the hell? It doesn't even roar. It doesn't whine. I don't want a freaking Honda. Listen, if I got to get a Ford or something like that, bruh, I need the $800,000 GT Ford. That when you turn the key on, when you turn the car, it, the Honda 2025, it doesn't do that. It's given like it's scared, like it's a quiet mouse, like the Uber driver, you just had a long day at work. Like, I don't want that car. So I'm not going to focus on that car. All these red pill coaches, they're focusing on the women that they don't want. That's why they keep making more content red pill, because they keep experiencing red pill type of women. They keep experiencing women that they don't want because they're talking and they're dreaming and they're thinking and they're moving and they're walking and they're talking to women that they don't want. That's called insanity. When you do the same thing over and over, expecting a different result, that's called insanity. Now, with that being said, I am not going to be a future Honda driver. You can be a future Honda driver. That I don't think you'll have enough money to leave an inheritance because you only afforded a $20,000 car. Like, you don't care about your children. At the end of the day, listen, my daughters, when they're 16, they'll have pink Lambo Uruses. Your daughters, when they're 16, they might have to buy their own car because you only could afford the 2025 Honda. When you turn the 2025 Honda on, you don't even hear anything. It's all mute. The exhaust is mute. I don't want that. When you turn that, when you cold start the Hellcat, the whole neighborhood wake up. When you cold start the Dodge Demon, your neighbors are going to hate you. That's what I want. But listen, they like, that's what you want? Yeah, that's what I want. Because the 18-bedroom mansion, listen, in Brazil, it's straight trees around it. It's straight trees around it. I'm not going to have any neighbors. So with that being said, I could cold start the Dodge Demon all day long. Nobody's going to come knock on my door. If they try to knock on my door, I got high-level security. So play at your own risk. Because guess what? I didn't want to be the average. I wanted to be the big boss, the El Matatan. That's why I drop 14 to 20 videos a day, because I'm working. Estoy trabajo. I'm working right now. So these guys, they're not focused. They're not working right now. They driving a 2025 Honda and they're not even Uber. Like, you're going to Miami and you think it's a breeze? Oh, bet. Go find out with that. Good luck with that. Listen, Monk Mode Gang, you know what's going on. Listen, bro.